And good morning.
Good morning, Alex.
Nothing caught fire. It might. Like, the laptop halfway through might overheat and burn through the desk as it does all of this stuff streaming. But welcome to our first YouTube live stream. So we're going to do a bit of a product update today, running through our US launch and some of the other things that we've been up to at the moment. How'd you sleep?
Last night.
Yeah, how you feeling today?
It is a bit early for me. It's 8 a.m. over here in Brisbane, so yeah, it's probably it's maybe an hour or two earlier than my normal schedule. So
yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it's been a big week as well. Like quite a lot of stuff happening. So.
Yes.
Do you need a coffee biscuit? Joel hasn't eaten all of them, so like I've got a couple left if you need one.
I'm all good. Got my coffee there.
So the first thing that we might have a look at is how you went about doing the US infrastructure stuff. So jumping over to the share screen. So what we've got up here is your metrics on AWS EC2 versus what we've done for the US server infrastructure. So do you want to walk through that?
Yeah, so basically when we were setting up our US infrastructure, we looked at pretty much all of the cloud providers that were on the market. So Google Cloud, AWS, a lot of the different ones that were available. We ended up landing on UpCloud as our provider for the US infrastructure. We did a lot of benchmarking on them. UpCloud, as you can see from this chart here, came out probably about at least 25 to 30% on top of the other cloud providers in terms of the performance that they provided.
That's pretty impressive. Hey, that's a pretty major difference.
Yeah. So I was really impressed with their service as well when we had a few sort of difficulties setting things up. And they have a very sort of almost instant response system.
Yeah, nice.
So yeah, I feel really confident working with them.
Yeah, sweet. What was the hardest thing about getting this going? Because it was probably a good month or so of you working on this.
Yeah, so I guess one of the things that caught us out the most was we have our own firewall, virtual appliance that creates a VPN link to our Australian data center. The idea being that our Australian data center can communicate securely to the US infrastructure for things like account provisioning and termination, all of the sort of management functionality that needs to be super tight in terms of its security. So we run, our own virtual appliance for the firewall to create a VPN connection between there and our Australian data center. Now, one of the things that really took a long time to diagnose what was going wrong was inside that firewall virtual machine, it was trying to do hardware-based TCP checksum calculations. So when you're sort of sending network packets, normally there's a checksum that's calculated on every packet that gets sent, and it was trying to use the driver's hardware to, calculate that.
Which obviously doesn't exist.
Yeah, it being a virtual machine just doesn't have that sort of capability, and it was there was some bugs in their drivers as well. So that was causing random sort of spikes of packet loss that took us a long time to diagnose. It was just sort of a funny sort of little quirk there. Yeah. But yeah, after that, things went pretty smoothly. We've got a lot of documentation on how we set up servers and infrastructure. We made a few adjustments to that, but overall it went pretty smooth after that.
Is there will there be a pretty noticeable speed difference for people in the US?
Yeah, so anyone who is currently in sort of, the US or Canada, the response times for, getting that time to first byte for a HTTP response, that'll go down from, maybe 200 milliseconds down to about 30.
Oh,
so it's quite significant.
Yeah. Fair enough. Trickling onto maybe a little bit of a search engine benefit?
Yeah, so I guess these days, I think Google sends crawlers from localized regions, and it does speed tests and performance benchmarking based off, local area, real traffic sort of environments, and the speed improvements will definitely be there for US and Canadian clients for sure.
Yeah, nice. So So now when users come to Oncord and create like a new account, if they're in Australia or New Zealand, that will go on our existing Australia infrastructure. If they're outside of that, they'll basically be hosted on our new US infrastructure instead.
Yeah, so we make the determination for you where the best data center to provision the account is. And I guess in the APAC region, we'll do that in our Australian data center. And if you're in the US or EU, we'll provision it in the States.
Is it hard to switch people between, like if we have to change a client between like Australia and the US?
It's not something that resellers can do or a client can do themselves. But if you submit a support ticket to us, we can basically start that off. The transfer time obviously depends on the size of the account. But it can be, as fast as like 5 minutes before an account will be switched over to the other infrastructure. We've got that fully scripted and automated for moving accounts between data centers.
Yeah, nice. Well, good job. That was a lot of work.
It was.
Yeah. So trailing on from getting the US infrastructure set up, what we've wanted to do for a while is like US billing. So you want to pay in your local currency. It's like very fair. So like letting people in the US pay in US dollar rather than AUD. So do you want to have a bit of a talk about how you've kind of approached that? When you told me that we were going to do US billing, I freaked out a little bit for the Australian market, going, that's a price increase. But we've decided not to do that, right?
Yeah, so I think it's become fairly standard these days for software as a service providers to always just charge in USD. We don't think that's fair for our existing Australian customers, of course, to be forced to be changed to US dollar for their billing. So what we're doing is basically anyone outside of Australia and New Zealand will be charged in USD, and anyone in Australia and New Zealand will be charged in AUD.
Yeah. Well, good. I remember like yesterday morning I came in and Scott was making a coffee and he told me that he'd for the most part gotten it done, and I said, okay, well, so does that mean that the billing is running on like a separate Stripe environment? And he goes, yep, not a problem. So Australian customers go on this credit card gateway and US go on this other one. I was like, right, okay, that's a heap of work, but cool, that's working. How does that like sync through to like the accounting software and Xero and like all these other concerns? But they've mostly been tackled now, so that's so we're really on like the home stretch to having that done, which is awesome. So
just as a reminder, it won't be the 1st of March for billing. It will be the 1st of April.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
Will be the first USD billing that will go out.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. So while we're doing the US infrastructure and billing, we've also decided to do finish off the QuickBooks integration. So we already integrate with MyOb and Xero as the accounting products. You're probably thinking like, why would a website platform even need to do that? Why is there a need for a website to integrate with accounting? What we do there is the contact database will sync between the website contact database and marketing platform with the contacts that are in the accounting software. There's so much good data in accounting software on like, customer data, location, purchase history, that type of thing. So having a synchronization between the accounting software and the website and marketing platform means that you can easily do newsletters to your customer base based on previous sales and that type of thing. We already have that set up with Xero and MyOb, but with the launch into the US, because QuickBooks has a fairly big market share over there, we've started to launch the QuickBooks integration. So the progress of that is pretty close, isn't it?
Yeah, it's probably about 80% there. So, we have invoices and payments syncing, but with these types of integrations, because there is a lot of endpoints in the API being touched, it needs a lot of testing and there are a lot of sort of moving parts that have extra validation problems because your name is too long. Those kind of things that need to all be sort of, finessed.
Yeah, true.
We're kind of in the home stretch of testing that now to get that launched as well.
It's not like it's a simple little like CRM integration where you're syncing a name and an email address. It's like this person's invoice, and we're changing the invoice to be allocated from Alex to Scott now, and like how that pushes through and adjustments and stuff.
Yep.
So yeah, pretty complex with the accounting integrations compared to like most of the other apps that are around.
So just to iterate again on the use case for the accounting integration. So the primary one is obviously if you're running an e-commerce store and you are selling products online, you want to push those invoices into your accounting software and have them coded into the correct accounting profit and loss accounts in your accounting software. It'll do that. If you then do bank rec in your accounting software and you receive like a payment on maybe via direct deposit, and you reconcile that against an invoice, we'll pull that payment information back to Oncord so it's ready to ship when it's paid. You start doing adjustments and refunds. All of that data will sync between your Oncord account and your accounting software. And then there's that other benefit as well, as if you have offline sales in your accounting software, they'll come into Oncord, which will allow you to do filtering of your customer database based on the data that's in your accounting software. So maybe you could send an email campaign to everyone who has bought a particular offline service, in your accounting software as well.
So yeah, that's pretty cool and all underway. The next thing that Jacob, our UX expert and the lead designer, has been working on is some changes to the way the sidebar works in our editing environment, right? Most of those changes are coming from the new form builder that we'll be releasing. So I'll flip over so we can have a bit of a look. So as we were looking at the way that drag and drop works with a form, it kind of occurred to us that like you wouldn't want to drag, when you're dragging a form onto the screen, you wouldn't want to drag like the atomic elements of it. So what I mean by that is you wouldn't want to drag like a field and then drag another field and like piece a form together like that. Most of our users would want to grab like the whole form, like a contact form or a newsletter sign up or a comment form, put it on the page, and then edit and customize it so that it had the right fields and stuff. So that kind of tied us onto this chat where we have, at the moment, we've got these existing pre-built sections onto the page. A lot of users don't even know that they exist though, because if I open up the page editor here, in our existing environment, you've just got these drag and drop elements. To get to the pre-built like sections, you have to click this tab here. And yeah, users don't seem to be actually getting in there to do that, which means that, and we need them to do that with forms because they'll be dragging the whole section for the form across. So that's kind of what led us down the road of needing to tweak that left-hand sidebar a bit. I think Jacob's solution that he's put together is pretty awesome as well. So the way that, you'll see two changes here actually. So clicking on the insert button on the left will reveal a panel of, instead of the like atomic elements like button and that type of thing, you'll see the library of pre-built sections like straight away. You can then filter those sections by the type of element that you're working on. So if I'm wanting to have, using the button example, I want like a section that's got a button. I'll click button and then it'll show me not only just the button, but all of the other sections that kind of use a button that might be common for it as well. So that change should be coming pretty soon. It should make it much easier to quickly put a page together. It's a nice lead on to putting the form builder in there. Another change that kind of comes with this as well is the change of where media is sorted. So with Oncord, if you need media uploaded to the site, like images or PDF documents or that type of thing, at the moment in the software, we go insert, and then you need to click this blue from media button up on the top of the screen, which again, some people are kind of missing. So we've moved that media button from there to actually be in the left panel now. So it should make it a little bit easier to manage the media associated with pages and things, and cleans up that left panel a little bit when you go to insert stuff as well. So awesome job, Jacob, because he'll be watching this later on. So what else have we got that we wanted to run through? The Parse.
Yeah, so I think the last reseller meeting that we had, we were talking about the deployment of the Parse refactor. So that has probably been the biggest change in the Oncord source code base in the last like 5 years, I reckon. So basically, our entire user interface is built with our own custom tags. These ones that are SS templates, row, column, forms. We basically use our own tagging system for our actual software itself. Now, when we first developed this, we had some timing issues with how things interacted on the page. So, maybe you had a form that had a search box on it, and then a table, populated its data from that search box, and then that produced some extra results somewhere else. So, basically, when there are user interface elements that depend on each other, we had to control the timing of when certain expressions were being evaluated. So that led us to initially implement a system called Parse and Parse Now, but that was the most mysterious concept.
It really was, yeah.
To all of our web developers, to our internal staff, everybody, whoever came across it.
If anyone has ever felt bad about not quite understanding when to use Parse, you might be working with if I open up the developer portal here. You might be working with a variable, for example. So you're like, okay, I need to get a variable here, which is a page of the website so that I can do stuff with it. You had to add this attribute called parse equals. The attribute could have, you don't always need it, but sometimes you do. And in addition to that, with parse, you can parse or you can parse now. So between those things, it kind of became a little bit mysterious to people that weren't 3 people on the planet, basically, about when to use. So we'd kind of go through this stage of, I need to parse it. Oh, okay, that didn't work. I need to parse it now. Sweet, that worked. So removing that parse attribute just goes a really long way towards cleaning up how you just do simple things putting getting a variable, for example. When I'm explaining it to new web developers looking at doing stuff on our platform, the fact that we don't have to really explain the parse ordering now. I feel like you must be almost at the point now where you're going to bed dreaming about parse stuff, because this would have been so much work.
Yeah, so that parse attribute just got replaced with our standardized square bracket question mark syntax, and it's just made everything so much easier. It was a big job getting that done. The way that it now works is, rather than having this two-step system of parse now and parse, it now actually will dynamically try and evaluate the attributes as it goes, so it can look things up, and it kind of does things deterministically, and it's just solved all of the problems.
Yeah. Oh, nice. To get to this as well, by the way, if you go to oncord.com, there is a link to get to the developer resources. So up on the top, I moved it the other day. Under partners, click on developer resources. That'll open up the developer site. From there, we've got the controls API, which is our big library of those tags that you can use for things like galleries, forms, and user interface elements. And there's documentation and example on that. And then the PHP API as well, which is the API that you use to get data, I guess, or manipulate it. So if you wanted to do something like displaying all posts on a page, for example, you would use a control to do a for loop to grab all the posts, and then you would use the user interface controls to display them on the page. So if you want to have a bit of a click around that, jump on the Oncord developers side of things. We've got tutorials and a cheat sheet for some shortcuts there and stuff as well. So that's probably the main kind of ticket items for the updates that we've done. The next thing we might as well mention is, with the US billing rolling out, Scott and Joel will actually be over in the US from, when do you fly out?
Next Thursday, so the 5th, I think it is.
Who are you flying with?
version.
Yeah, fair enough.
You're putting me on the spot here.
Yeah. What time's your flight? Did you get there early? Don't miss it. But he's going to be, so we've written kind of down all of the events that these guys will be doing while they're over there. We're not over there heaps. We will be this year, more so than previous years. You've never been to the US before, hey?
No, I have been once, yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I remember. The main events that Scott and Joel will be doing while they're over in the US, which is an awesome opportunity to actually catch up with us, is the Traffic and Conversion Summit, which will be happening from March 31st to April the 2nd. We're actually exhibiting at that one as well, so we'll have a stand, so come by and make us feel welcome and say hello and stuff. The other one that we're going to is... I might actually close that down so it doesn't break my bandwidth. The laptop's like the fans spilling up. The next one is the South by Southwest, and we're exhibiting at that one as well. So that'll be from the 14th to the 22nd of March. And we're just, the guys are just popping along as attendees, so going around and doing the opposite, harassing all the exhibitors and saying hello to everyone at SASTA. And that's between March the 10th to March the 12th as well. So yeah, make sure you keep an eye out for, they'll be rocking the shirts, so make sure you keep an eye out for that as well. While they're gallivanting around the US and having all the fun, I'm going to be stuck here, looking around. Not really. It'll be quiet finally with Joel and Scott going. So back here in Brisbane, I'm doing a couple of events as well. We've got the Small Business Expo here in Brisbane on the 26th of March that we've got to stand at. So we'll be, jumping around saying hello to some small businesses. We've got the Digital Summit Expo. I'm speaking at that one on May the 1st. It's at South Bank in Brisbane. It's a new conference as well. I think it would definitely be worth checking out. There's some, quite a lot of speakers and some exhibitors there to come and say hello to. And then we've got Byte Conference on May the 14th. When we were... and that one's down in Melbourne as well, so I'll be flying down there for that. When we were at ZeroCon, at the one of the first times I think we exhibited, we were in the startup alley, kind of with just kind of over in the corner hiding away. At an accounting firm run by Shannon Smith and her team, Smart. They were basically walking around the conference, and she took the time to check out what we do and got a demo of the stuff and absolutely loved it. And we've been working really closely with her ever since. That was a good 4 or 5 years ago now. And so she'll be running that Byte conference. She's done it, I think, 3 years now? So she's been doing it a few years now, and it's been growing, and it's a pretty awesome conference. So I'll be down there for that one in Melbourne. So if you are around the Melbourne area, definitely jump on and RSVP for that one too, and come and say hello, because you could catch up while we're down there. I think that mostly covers everything.
Yeah, pretty much. I guess if there are any agency partners that are in the States as well that would like Joel and I to come and have a bit of a visit, do let us know. Just email our support inbox, support@oncord.com.
Yeah.
And we can try and organise something.
Yeah, that sounds good. All right.
Okay.
Thanks for coming. Let's post this. Let's see how the first YouTube.
Went.
So normally we run these sessions with Zoom. So we just do a screen capture, invite everyone on, and post it up to YouTube. I wanted to give YouTube Live a little bit of a go. Doing a bit of a read compared to Facebook Live. YouTube Live gets a really nice audience. I guess it's not people scrolling around looking at cats and stuff like you would get on Facebook. It's people actually there to watch videos and things on YouTube.
I've got a YouTube for cats.
Of course you do. You've got playlists set up. I wanted to give that a bit of a go to see if we can, to see how it goes. So let me know in the comments what you thought of the change in format as well. If we get good feedback, then we'll do it again. If we don't, I'll see you in Zoom, and we'll catch you next time, guys. Thanks.
Okay, thanks a lot.